wizardchan is perhaps one of the most depressing sites you could possibly visit. It describes itself as an image-based forum or image board for male virgins where they can share their thoughts, vent, and discuss their interests and lifestyle as virgins. Just like pretty much any other message board, or really any form of social media for that matter, wizardchan is not a place you'd want to frequent if you value having even a shred of positive outlook on life. But among the mountains of sad posting, you can find some truly bizarre and engaging tales of human desperation and loneliness, and I wanted to bring such one to you today. This is the story of Japananon, a very strange wizardchan user, a man who leads an absolutely absurd existence, which ultimately leads him to go on a bizarre expedition in search of fate in a faraway foreign land. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. I did a homeless bicycle travel thing for 3 months in Japan 2 years ago. I had money, so it wasn't bad. Didn't shower, talk to anyone, was able to just bicycle around and sleep wherever. I took many pictures and did a lot of writing. Was knitting for 4 years before I did this trip. Never socialized, never went outside, didn't know how to drive, read maps, navigate using road signs, etc. But I still managed to survive and enjoy it. Obviously, this isn't real dangerous homelessness, but it's all I've managed to experience so far. I enjoyed the isolation and being exposed to nature. It was like I became an outdoor traveling NEET. If I had the money and was super rich, I would live like that for the rest of my life. I always wanted to make lots of posts or a thread about it, but I feel like it would be too similar to blogging. But I have made some posts about it, so maybe it's recognizable to some. Here is the path I took and some pictures. To the right showed the bicycle I bought there and typical sleeping setup. I would turn benches into comfy beds with lots of blankets and my sleeping bag. Wow, that's great. Are you yourself Japanese? If not, how did you manage to get into the country? How did the locals react to you? No, I'm American. I had just money saved up and made a flight there. All I needed was my passport. I treated them NPCs and pretended I was in a Japanese RPG or some kind of video game. When they try interacting with you and say a bunch of Japanese shit, you don't care, you don't understand them, and they are annoying. So pressing A was the equivalent of nodding head and saying hi. Yes. Pressing B was the equivalent to shaking head and saying yeah, no. If pressing A wasn't enough, I would pull out my map and point to random places, and if they like that and would sometimes give me free stuff or write something on the map, if they confront you, usually they are trying to help, so they might give a free drink or food, free sleeping bag or free jacket when it was cold. Here I made a collage of more pictures for you, for the person curious how they treat me. They ignored me, as you can see in some of the pictures where they are in front of me. When they realize I wasn't social or a Japanese-speaking tourist, they all lose interest and leave me alone. Also, before I left, I spent a few weeks researching edible plants and made drawings and notes so I could forage there. The most common stuff I found was plantain, kudzu, dandelion, dayflowers, clovers, mugwort, thistle. Some abandoned cultivations of kiwi, figs, citrus, chestnuts, kaki and eggplant were common as well. You could see them growing wild off to the side of roads. Some of the plants I took pictures of, some I wasn't able to find while there. Is it okay to sleep in the streets in Japan? I mean, is it safe? I never felt in danger once when I was over there. In 120 nights, I only had maybe 4 nights of interrupted sleep. 3 instances where the landowners woke me up telling me to go sleep somewhere else. But one actually gave me 1,000 yen after he told me to leave. Another gave me expensive fruit because he felt sorry for me. One instance where street racers were doing donuts around me when I was trying to sleep under a bridge. They apologized and left me alone after I hurled insults and empty alcohol bottles at their car. I'm not counting the instances where police woke me up because there was no danger from them. They just asked to see passport and search your stuff. I don't think there's any laws against homeless sleeping in public areas. Many of the homeless guys sleep with bells attached to their belongings, so they wake up at night if anyone tries to steal from them, and they sleep with their stuff strapped or secured to their bodies. There are tons of homeless people in many areas where homeless people live. I found many homeless villages as well in parts of cities nearby parks. They built their own houses with trash and stuff and just spend all day smoking cigarettes, talking to each other, and walking around in the sun. What do you do now? Why did you randomly go to Japan to be homeless? If you want to live like this permanently, why don't you work towards being able to do that? When I came back, I just returned to knitting. It also wasn't a random decision. It was completely planned because I thought the world was going to end on a certain date. I don't care about the language, culture, the people, or history of Japan. I just have this idea of Japan in my head that comforts me, so I wanted to die surrounded by a physical version of my idealized Japan. When the world didn't end, I started drinking lots of alcohol there. I did work in the past. The money I had saved up was the only thing that even allowed me to go there. But no amount of money is worth working. I would rather knit than kill myself than return to working. There's only negative value with work. Staying in Japan illegally would be easy. There are shrines and little donation boxes all over the country. You see them everywhere. Peak-related shows. And also, I was planning on staying there until they deported me, so I was practicing thieving from them. You can see these pictures how easy it is. In some of the big shrines, you pick them up and just shake the hell out of them until all the money falls out. At one point in my trip, I was able to earn over $50 each day from doing this alone. Since police will only bother you if you sleep in big cities, never if you're in the country or small villages and towns and cities, if you wanted to stay in Japan forever as a rogue, it would be possible if you stole from shrines and traveled during the nighttime to avoid being spotted. I did all my traveling and stealing during broad daylight because it was too cold to travel at night. What did you do besides bicycling? Mainly thinking, and if I liked an idea, I would write it down. I wrote down a bunch of stories and things during this time. Sometimes when I see something nice, I would stop my bicycle, pull my camera, take a picture. I did a lot of street photography of buildings in this style, where I would be stopping every 5 minutes. Lots of things to look at when you are pedaling slowly. Sometimes you get a flat tire and don't want to stop, so you push bike and you get to see everything even slower. I learned many edible plants before visiting and spent a lot of time identifying unknown plants. I would forage and eat things. For all the small roads I was using, I could find abandoned houses, and I would always make an effort to go inside and explore them. I found lots of cool things by doing this. Many of the houses would be completely overrun by nature and invisible from the roads, yet the interiors of a few would be preserved. I made efforts to visit a lot of shrines and photograph them. Eventually it became a game to seek out hidden shrines. What did your daily schedule look like and how much did you spend biking every day? I didn't have a schedule, but I can still describe the usual day. Wake up at 6, eat bread, drink water, smoke, get dressed, pack my bicycle, and then go. If I felt like not doing anything that day, I would sit in the sun all day long and nap on benches. I spent at least 8 hours bicycling on the days I was traveling. As it gets dark, I would find somewhere to sleep with a roof or something to protect from rain. And then I would set up my bed and position bicycle and everything to shelter me from one side somewhat. I washed my feet sometimes and did laundry using packets of detergent in bathroom sinks. Really slow and boring days. You get entertained from simple things. Was your bike cheap or expensive? Did some parts get broken or worn out? If so, how did you replace them? My bike was like $40. It's called a mamachari or mama's bike because its intended purpose for being a city bike for old succubi. It had a pedal-powered front headlight, but the ball burned out and I couldn't find a replacement. I got flat tires every 2 weeks. You can see my bike pumps secured to my frame which I used to fix them. I had some tools in my bag which I used for repairs. It is just general bike repair kit stuff you can buy for a few dollars. I had a can of lube which I sprayed on the chains and everything every week or so. I had a bicycle in the past and I know how to fix flat tires. Nothing else happened though. The bike was sturdy and survived falling down a lot. How did you eat? From convenience stores I bought big bags of peanuts, 100 yen loaves of bread and canned fish. This was 95% of my food. I also foraged and found some food on my own. Sometimes I get bentos and things from the convenience stores. Never ate in a restaurant or tried actual food cooked by another human there. Would you consider walking instead of cycling if you ever did this again? I actually went there originally planning on walking, but after a week my feet and legs were in such bad pain I was crying as I had to walk around. The homeless old guys in Japan ride on these bicycles, so that is why I decided on buying one. It was the best decision I made there, and the store clerk unexpectedly did my paperwork for me, using my passport and other info, since you apparently have to register bicycles. I would never try walking if I did this again, because there is no point, since the bicycle allowed me to go faster, and it carried the weight of everything for me like a horse almost. How much did it all cost? I forgot the exact price, but around $1,000 just for flights to and from the USA. Food costs vary, but you could probably live decently off $150 each month if you eat cheap. Add in $100 for random shit you end up buying throughout the month, like ferry prices, batteries, etc. Around $1,800 or $1,900 I would estimate would be the total cost of the exact entire 3 months stuff I did. What did you pack? What backpack did you use? Just the usual water-resistant Gregory backpack, not expensive. I packed a bunch of the usual shit you see for survival, but honestly never once used any of it. You will never go without water in Japan. You can find it everywhere for free. Sleeping bag, jacket, raincoat, tarp, blanket if you want to be comfy. Those are probably all you need. I had some waterproof bags as well I packed, but I ended up using grocery bags for this purpose, as they were easier and lighter, and every purchase from a convenience store netted you some. I used a bundle of them as a pillow and it was comfortable. What time of the year did you go? Left USA on September 11th. Left Japan on December 7th. What kind of devices did you carry? Camera, phone, laptop? I bought a cheap Android phone for the trip, and I had a camera. What kind of clothing/shoes did you wear? Doesn't really matter because I ended up throwing them all away and just wearing cheap and light clothing. Just regular plain t-shirt, very breathable and open, and thin shorts. When it got cold, I found a warm jacket and insulated pants and used that over top the shorts and shirt. I brought sandals with me, but I ended up throwing them away as well because they were too heavy. I bought footwear similar to Crocs while I was there. It is like a rubber type of sandal that you can slip on and off easily and weighs almost nothing. The benefit of this is that I didn't have to wear socks, my feet never got fungus and gross, and it was comfortable. You might think cheap Croc shoes would be horrible to wear for 3 months or bicycling and walking, but they held up fine and look brand new. How did you plan? What did you read? What do you mean plan? I didn't read anything. How did you navigate around Japan without knowledge of the language? Everything is usually in English. All the road signs, traffic stuff, toilet instructions, etc. If you don't know something, you can just take a picture of it and Google Translate does the work for you. Did you bike fast? How many miles did you cover daily? No, I didn't go fast at all, and I was stopping every 5 minutes taking pictures, exploring places, and looking at stuff. I visited all the shrines and temples that I found. I think the longest I traveled in one day was maybe 50 miles from Gose to Wakayama. On average, maybe 15 to 25 miles. Didn't you experience some pain from biking all the time, i.e. ass pain from the seat? No. What did you do with your gear if you had to go to the shop? Did you bring it with you inside? Did you use a backpack or panniers? I just left it outside with the other bikes. I would put a tarp over it if I was going to be gone for an hour or so, but no one ever stole anything and I never was worried about stealing. Did you ever leave your bike somewhere for an extended period to go do something else? I did leave it behind when I left Japan, but aside from that, no, it was always with me. How is your life right now? What do you do during the day? How is your mental state? Are you in need? Do you live with parents or have bucks? I'm here every day. I'm a happy and content wizard, honestly. I don't leave the house, I eat and live with parents, and do not receive bucks. But I started an eBay business selling things, and it now helps me earn roughly the same as bucks. Do you miss this time? Yes, the experience was so enjoyable it has permanently altered my dreams each night. Now in my dreams I just wander around Japan-type landscapes and sceneries and look at things. And every night it's like this. Sometimes in my dreams I see something so beautiful, maybe colorful clouds in an arranged environment with good feelings. I try and take a photo of it using my camera. I try to capture it so I can always remember it. But of course, once you wake up there is no picture. It's sad. I want to go back eventually. What was the most memorable place you went to? I found an abandoned motel place consisting of 6 small buildings off the side of a road once. Really in the middle of nowhere, very hidden, very rural and in the mountains. One place was burned down, the rest were just left alone. but one had a lock on the door and seemed maybe someone was squatting there. After exploring all the other buildings, which was great fun itself, I began approaching that building to find out if someone was inside or not. I determined no one was inside, so I broke my way inside with a big rock. It was total darkness. To the left was a fridge and I opened it immediately and took all the food into my bag. There was lots of pictures on the wall, aluminum foil and candles used for hiding food, lots of stuff on the walls. To the right was a desk with some things and books and general things. I opened everything and took cigarettes and left everything else. Then a huge bed. I found a sex mask hanging on the wall, lots of and other toys, lingerie, lubes, condoms, magazines, and another desk with personal belongings and things. I took a bag from there, unknowingly containing personal info like his ID and expenses and other very important things. And then a Miku figurine. I saw silicone breast pads and a strap for fake breasts. Again, tons of pictures of some guy, and lots of other guys and succubi on the walls. I found a DVD player and lots of Jav. I took the Jav, portable DVD player, Miku figurine, cigarettes, his bag, food, and then I threw it all onto my bike and took off like a bandit. I had successfully raided a homosexual sex pervert's lair. As I was riding off down the mountain, I chain smoked all his cigarettes and found a rest stop and drank all his juice and got rid of the evidence. The high I felt was immense. I never felt so good in my life. Breaking into the dungeon of some normal fag sex lord and stealing his shit was great. Curiosity got the better of me after seeing such a hidden place. I wanted to see what was inside, and once I saw what was inside, I couldn't resist. It was like finding a buried treasure hidden away by a pirate. I know wizards don't appreciate crime and think such things are deplorable, and I have no excuses for this particular case. But from the bank information in his bag, I saw regular massive money deposits. 2 million plus yen, which seemed strange for someone in a frugal living situation. So I believe he was some type of criminal. He was age 53 or so and had a huge list of contacts in one of his booklets, so maybe he was a prostitute. What was the most memorable experience? Going through Shikoku. I can't fully describe it, but it was very difficult for me and I appreciated everything. I was forced to walk up all the inclines. I had to go through many tunnels, across lots of bridges, along many shores and get sunburned, past lots of abandoned places. The bamboo was so thick and the fog was heavy. I always got an urge to give up and just put my bicycle down and walk off into the forest to die alone. Traveling through it was the most enjoyable experience. If I return, I might make the pilgrimage that the other monks do, which requires going to 88 temples in a certain order. You can see those pilgrims on the roads and there are rest stops all along the routes for you to sleep at in the night. What was the thing in your life that drove you to go to Japan? I went there believing in an apocalypse, and if I was going to die, I felt I should just go to Japan and die there. I was always interested somewhat in Japan, not the culture, so it worked out for me. How old are you? 24 or 25. If I'm not 25 already, I'll be turning 25 this year. I forgot how the math for determining age works. What was your worst experience in Japan? Already described it somewhat earlier. I forgot which city I was in, but it had many bridges and things by the water. I think it was Saiki. I slept under a bridge one night, a very big concrete bridge, and I was woken up in the middle of the night to streetcar racers racing around me in their cars, succubi inside laughing and screeching, and the passenger seat person's face was morphing all between a madman and some demon. That's how it seemed to me. In total darkness they would drive towards me, swerve a little and then spin around somehow and circle around me. The red car light and the front headlight were all blinding me, and then going past. The noise was very loud and the music was blaring. To them it was some kind of fun game. They were doing this kind of jousting where they drive off, turn around, and then drive straight at me again. It was hell. I was just trying to sleep in my sleeping bag beside my bicycle with all my belongings right there, and these crazed banshees were within inches on some occasions of damaging them and hurting me. I was drinking alcohol each time I went to sleep while in Japan to help fall asleep and feel better, so I had alcohol bottles around me. When I couldn't take it anymore, I threw them at their car and ran up to them. I cursed them and I was forcing them to hit me to end it. They left after I did this. Thanks for your time. I have enjoyed reading your posts, Anon. Thanks for asking. I actually had begun to forget a lot of this stuff anyway. Like when you asked me about the most memorable experience, I couldn't think of anything at first. What a story, huh? I think Japan Anon is clearly a very troubled person, maybe even unwell. I'm no doctor obviously, but the way he writes about himself and his adventures make for a pretty disturbing and engaging portrait, which is just as interesting as his various exploits. He is a man who has decided that work only brings negative value, that all women are succubi, that the world is going to end, yet he is unsure of his own age and admitted himself he cannot perform many basic functions. He went to Japan with the intention of becoming a public nuisance and eventually getting deported. He admits to various seriously objectionable crimes in his posts, and his general attitude seems to be pretty toxic to me. While obviously all of this is clearly wrong, it does make for an engaging story if it is all real. I have some suspicions about the accuracy in which he portrays the details, but nevertheless I think this is an interesting case study of what severe isolation and alienation can sometimes bring people into doing. And when they have such a loose grasp on reality as it is, it just gets really bizarre. Thank you so much for tuning in. I was Suki of Not Aiming for the Truck. I think I'm gonna go to bed now. See you next time.